They say pregnancy is the most beautiful journey for a woman, but no one tells you how lonely it can get when the man who's supposed to hold your hand through it starts pulling away. I was 7 months pregnant when I realized my husband, Darren, didn't look at me the same way anymore. It started slowly. He'd come home late, avoid eye contact, flinch when I asked him to feel the baby kick. And when I cried because pregnancy hormones are no joke, he'd say, "You're too emotional. I can't deal with you right now." But what really shattered me was the night I caught him scrolling through selfies of a woman I didn't know. Her name was Tasha. Her body was tight. Her smile confident. She wasn't swollen and sore and scared like me. I confronted him and he didn't even deny it. Hello everyone. Welcome to Midnight Confessions, where we bring you stories that connects with the heart. But before we proceed with today's intense story, I need your help. We have noticed that the channel is losing traction, and subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you great content. Your support means everything to us. Let's keep this channel growing together. "We're not connecting anymore," he said coldly, arms crossed like I was a stranger. "You're heavy all the time. Clingy. I need space." I remember staring at him, holding my belly like I was shielding our daughter from the truth. That night I cried until I couldn't breathe. But the next morning, I had a prenatal appointment with Dr. Adrian Monroe, my OB-GYN. He noticed my swollen eyes instantly. "You didn't sleep, did you?" he asked gently, his voice the kind you don't realize you need until you hear it. Kind, soft, real. I shook my head. He didn't push. He just held my wrist to check my pulse, but something in his eyes lingered. Not in a creepy way, but in that way someone does when they actually see you. Like he noticed I was breaking and didn't treat me like I was overreacting. I don't know what made me break down right there in the exam room, but I did. Tears, snot, the whole mess. I told him everything. My husband's cheating. The loneliness. How I felt invisible. Unlovable. And then he said something that stuck to my ribs. "You are not too much. You are carrying life. You are everything." I don't remember what happened after that, but I remember how I felt leaving the hospital. Seen. Held emotionally, at least. And that night I slept for the first time in weeks. After that, I found myself looking forward to every checkup. Not just for the baby's growth, but for the man who made me feel like I wasn't broken. Our conversations stretched beyond medical charts. We talked about books, music, childhood fears. I found myself laughing in ways I hadn't in months. I started wearing lip balm again. Doing my hair for appointments. All for a man whose hands had never once touched me improperly, but whose words healed places even my husband never reached. One afternoon after my ultrasound, I asked him if he was married. He paused, then quietly said, "I was." She left when I chose medicine over marriage. There was something in his pain that mirrored mine. He placed the ultrasound photo in my hand, our daughter's tiny face in a blurry swirl of light. "She's beautiful," he said. I whispered, "So am I." And for the first time in months, I actually believed it. The days kept passing, but home felt colder. Darren barely spoke to me unless I asked about bills or the baby. His phone was always face down, and so was his attention. I had grown used to sleeping alone. I had grown used to crying in the shower with one hand over my belly. But nothing prepared me for the moment I found a pink lace bra in our laundry that didn't belong to me. I didn't say a word. What was there to say? He had stopped hiding it. He just didn't care. The next morning I sat in my car outside the hospital, hands trembling on the wheel. I had an appointment with Dr. Monroe, but I couldn't move. I felt disgusting. Like a woman who was being cheated on and still stupidly hoping her doctor would smile at her and make her feel like she mattered. He must have seen me sitting there because I heard a soft knock on the passenger window. "You okay?" he asked gently, crouching beside my car. I burst into tears again, and instead of saying anything, I reached over and unlocked the door. He slid in and sat quietly.
No judgment.
Just presence. Tell me, he said. I handed him the bra. His eyes widened but not in shock, more in pain for me. He left it on purpose. Like he wanted me to find it. I whispered. There was a silence in the car. A heavy one. And then he reached for my hand. It was the first time he'd ever touched me like that. You deserve better than this. So much better. You deserve to be loved through every version of yourself. Especially this one. I didn't realize how much I craved touch. Not just any touch but safe touch. Gentle touch. A touch that didn't come with shame or disgust. I turned to him, heart thudding in my throat. Do you see me, Adrian? Really see me? His jaw tightened. Every single time you walk into my room, I see you more clearly. I leaned in. I shouldn't have. But I did. And when his lips brushed against mine, I didn't feel like a patient. I felt like a woman again. Like someone who was wanted. Not despite her belly and swollen feet and stretch marks, but somehow because of them. We didn't sleep together that day. We didn't even kiss again. But something shifted. Something opened. The next week, I saw Darren's phone light up on the kitchen counter. I saw her name. Tasha Redheart. He walked in and saw me staring. What? You gonna cry again? He snapped. I laughed. A bitter, exhausted laugh.
No, Darren.
I'm done crying over a man who forgot how to love me when I needed it most. He scoffed, grabbed his keys and left. Like always. And that night I texted Adrian. I miss being looked at the way you do. His reply came fast. You never stop being beautiful, you just stop being seen. I stared at the screen, fingers shaking, belly shifting with our daughter's movements. I didn't know where this would go. I didn't even know who I was anymore. But for the first time in a long time I knew what I wanted. And it wasn't Darren. Labor hit me fast 2 weeks before my due date. I was home alone folding tiny onesies when the first wave hit. Then another. I could barely stand. I tried calling Darren but he didn't pick up. Again. Third time that week. I didn't bother trying a fourth. I called the only person who had shown up for me consistently. Adrian. He picked up on the first ring. Don't panic, he said calmly. I'm already on my way. The pain came in waves, but the fear faded the moment he arrived. He carried my bag, held my hand into the hospital, and stayed by my side the entire labor. He whispered encouragement when I screamed. He wiped my forehead and told me I was strong, powerful, beautiful. And when our daughter was finally born pink, crying, perfect, I broke down. Not just because of the pain, but because Adrian was the first person to hold her. The first person to hold us. Darren showed up hours later. Hungover, eyes bloodshot. He took one look at her and said, "She doesn't look like me." I snapped. You didn't even show up for me. You don't get to doubt her now. But something about his comment stuck. At first I shook it off. But in the days that followed, the seed was planted. Quiet. Growing. I noticed little things, her eyes, her dimple, the curl of her hair. The way Adrian held her like she was his whole world. And then came the moment that tore everything open. 3 weeks later, I ordered a DNA test. I hadn't slept with Adrian before the birth. But something about her resemblance to him, maybe the universe was playing a trick. Maybe Darren had planted the seed of doubt too deep. I had to know. Not for drama. For peace. The results came in. And my heart dropped. 0% match. Darren was not the father. I sat on the floor holding the paper. Baby girl sleeping on my chest. Tears soaking her tiny hat. My whole body shook. Because that meant one thing. Adrian was. Somewhere between the blurred lines between late appointments, emotional storms, and one night I'd buried deep during my second trimester, it happened. A night I told myself was just a dream. But it wasn't. I had told Adrian I didn't remember sleeping with him. He said he didn't either. But it must have happened during one of those emotional breakdowns when I needed comfort and found it in his arms. I called him that night, voice shaking. "She's yours," I whispered. He was silent. Then he said, "I knew. Somehow I always knew." I expected him to pull back, to panic. But he didn't. He showed up. Every day after that. He took paternity leave from the hospital, changed diapers, learned lullabies, read parenting books, kissed my forehead while I breastfed. And one evening while our daughter slept in his arms, he looked at me and said, "I never planned for this, but I have never loved anything more than what we have become." Darren tried to come back, of course, claimed I cheated, threw around words like betrayal and disgusting. But by then I had no energy left for guilt. He cheated when I was heavy and fragile and needed him most. I found love in the most unexpected place, with a man who saw me in my rawest form, and still reached for me. So I made the choice I should have made a long time ago. I divorced Darren, and I chose the man who didn't just help me deliver a baby. He helped me deliver myself. What would you do if you found out the truth about your baby's father? After giving birth. Have you ever experienced abandonment by the person you loved? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everything and your voice matters here. Thanks for watching.